It's the US State Department under the Biden administration's big charge against the Adani Group, one of India's biggest industrial conglomerates. Well, the group facing these charges, an indictment of bribery running into many millions of dollars, has released a statement on the charges made by the United States, calling them baseless and denied. The Adani Group has quoted the indictment and said they are ready to fight legally, ensuring they will follow all jurisdictions. Meanwhile, the Adani Group has importantly abandoned a $600 million US bond deal. Last week, Adani announced a multi-billion-dollar investment in the United States as he congratulated President-elect Donald Trump on his election victory on social media. US prosecutors have indicted Adani Group chairperson, his nephew Sagar Adani, and 6 others for allegedly bribing to the tune of $265 million to Indian government officials to secure solar power contracts with state electricity distribution companies. Here's the full story.
Adani Group shares fell up to 20% as trading opened Thursday on news of Gautam Adani and 7 others being indicted in the United States on charges of a $265 million bribery scheme and fraud. Among those charged is Gautam Adani's nephew Sagar Adani. According to authorities, Adani and the other defendants agreed to bribe Indian government officials to secure lucrative solar energy supply contracts. These contracts would have, according to authorities, yielded $2 billion of profit over 20 years, along with the development of India's largest solar power plant project. Prosecutors also said the Adanis and another executive at Adani Green Energy, former CEO Vineet Jain, raised more than $3 billion in loans and bonds by hiding their corruption from lenders and investors. The 54-page indictment alleges that Gautam Adani personally met with Indian officials to advance the illegal deal and secure the contracts. Prosecutors alleged that Adani and 2 executives conspired to misrepresent the company's anti-bribery and corruption practices to US investors and financial institutions to obtain financing. Adani and 7 other business executives, including 2 who worked at Adani Green Energy, the renewable energy firm, were charged in the scheme. Gautam Adani and Sagar Adani were charged with securities fraud and 2 counts of fraud conspiracies. The Securities and Exchange Commission also brought civil charges against the 2 defendants. According to the indictment, some conspirators referred privately to Gautam Adani with the code names Numero Uno and the Big Man, while Sagar Adani allegedly used a cell phone to track specifics about the bribes. According to court records, arrest warrants have been issued for Gautam and Sagar Adani, which will be handed to foreign law enforcement agencies. In a first statement by an Adani Group company, Adani Green Energy scrapped a $600 million bond issue. The statement said the United States Department of Justice and the United States Securities and Exchange Commission have issued a criminal indictment and brought a civil complaint respectively in the United States District Court for the Eastern District of New York against board members Gautam Adani, Sagar Adani and Vineet Jain. Because of this, its subsidiaries have decided not to proceed with the proposed dollar-denominated bond offerings. The charges come 22 months after Hindenburg Research's allegations against the group shaved off $150 billion from its market cap. Meanwhile, GQG Partners, led by Rajiv Jain, which invested heavily in the Adani Group after the Hindenburg crash, saw its stock tumble 20%. It holds 3.4% in Adani Enterprise, 4.1% in Adani Ports, 2.5% in Adani Transmission and 3.5% in Adani Green Energy. Bureau Report, Business Today TV.
The first basic question that you're probably asking, and we'll answer it for you, is what are the immediate implications for the Adani Group? Now, let me list them for you. This is as far as we can tell at this point, since it's still a developing story. Number 1, the Adani Group can no longer raise funds in the United States because of these charges coming in from their Justice Department. Number two, future fundraising may be impacted overseas. It's definitely impacted in the United States, but could be impacted in other places as well. Most developed countries abide by Securities and Exchange Commission actions in the United States, even though no formal word has come in from those other countries. But this is usually the kind of protocol that you see when the SEC takes any kind of action. Key global banks may shun the Adani Group. That's a possible impact of what has happened in the United States. Plans to invest $10 billion in the United States that was recently announced may potentially be put on hold. There's no confirmation of that. Adani Green Energy has already, like we just reported, halted its $600 million US bond sale. That was the immediate impact of this indictment. Adani shares are down 20%. It's lost 2.6 lakh crore of value in the markets. Gautam Adani, the chairman, and officials will need to appear in a US court. So that is as far as the immediate impact or the short-term impact of this indictment is concerned. Remember, it remains to be seen how this case will actually proceed. To make sense of it and what the next steps could actually be, I'm joined by India Today's Sakshi Batra from Business Today. Nalini Sharma is our legal editor, looking very closely at what the next steps could be. Sakshi, very quickly to you first. We've broken down the elements of the story, what really has happened, what this indictment is. As a business reporter, looking at the Adani saga, which has been going on, both in the business world as well as the political world for many, many months now, how are you seeing the story? How do you see it actually go forward? What happens next?
Right, Shiv, you have pointed out correctly on all of these facts. Of course, it has shaken the Indian market investors' confidence yet again. Remember, we've been reeling under not one, but two and three times now with respect to the kind of issues that have been raised against Adani Group. It was first Hindenburg research report that came in January of 2023. It yet again erupted again in 2024 beginning, and now we are hearing it right towards the end of 2024 with US SEC now talking about bribery charges and corruption charges at the Adani Group as well. Today, you've already seen 2.5 lakh crore rupees of investors' money getting lost and swiped off just in a single day. And of course, it's not just the retail investors, which of course have lost a lot of money in today's trading session, but the Adani Group itself, the promoters entity itself, which have lost a lot of ground. 1.85 lakh crore rupees is what their loss is. And Gautam Adani's net worth has slipped down by $12.5 billion just by the allegations that have come in. And it has shaken the confidence of the Indian investors yet one more time. Although the group has come out with their clarification right here, we still saw at least 3 of the stocks that were still down in lower circuits in trade today. Although there was some recovery on Adani Enterprises and Adani Ports right after that clarification came in from the Adani Group, but still most of the stocks were down anywhere between 10 and 20%. And there is no clarity whatsoever as to whether how soon will we see a recovery really come to shape as well. Experts have been clearly talking about one to stay away from the Adani Group stocks as of now. There were several investors wanting to know that whether they should be looking at this as a buying opportunity, but most experts are saying that this could be catching like a falling knife. We still do not know how much more worth is going to be really coming in going forward into next few days. Of course, this is yet again a question on a large Indian conglomerate and a large businessman, a large industrialist at India. So yet again, India Inc. is also going to be putting up a face, when you talk about the global industrial.
Okay.
This is not something that we will be really looking forward to. And Gautam Adani more so. There is another question, very, very important.
We've lost that network with Sakshi. We'll try and go back to her. I think she's in a moving car. We'll come back to you, Sakshi. But Nalini, on the legal front, and you've gotten your hands on a full copy of that indictment, break down for us the legal aspect of, what kind of trouble the Adani Group and Gautam Adani personally are in. Will they have to appear before a US court? This is a United States that is currently in transition between administrations. If you could simplify that for us, Nalini.
Well, Shiv, essentially an indictment means that it's a couple of steps before a trial takes place in a particular case. Now that this indictment has been issued against Gautam Adani and 7 others, including some of his family members, they will be required to appear before the court so that the arraignment can take place. During the arraignment, the court will explain what are the charges that have been levied against them by the prosecution, which prima facie the court has found that there is prima facie evidence because of which the indictment has been issued. But only when they appear before the court in the arraignment will the charges be explained, and they'll be given a chance to plead guilty or not guilty before the official trial kicks off. But that is going to be the key piece over here, trying to get Gautam Adani and all of the other accused to appear before the court, because like we know, they are not only Indian citizens, but they are also residing in India. So the US will have to make, the US authorities will have to make an official request to the Indian authorities to ensure that Gautam Adani is sent to the US or extradited to the US rather, to appear before the court. But before that, there will have to be a warrant that will have to be issued. Now, we are given to understand that a warrant has been issued, but we've not been able to get our hands on it as of yet. We are still waiting for the court documents in that regard. But we are given to understand from the Reuters report that a warrant has been issued. Now, it remains to be seen how the US authorities proceed. Talking about what kind of impact it can have personally on Gautam Adani, of course, there will be an impact on the businesses and the global businesses that he has. But personally, he might be facing not just penalties and jail time, but the Securities Council has also asked, the SEC rather of the US has also asked to ensure that all of these accused cannot be directors in any public listed company. So that might mean really bad news for Gautam Adani in case he's found guilty before the US court. But before that, all of the proceedings will have to take place. And like Gautam Adani has already made it clear, he will be challenging all of these allegations that have been made against him and his company.
All right, we'll keep it. The story is still unfolding. Like Nalini just pointed out, Reuters is reporting an arrest warrant being issued, but we still haven't had a chance to see a copy of that just yet. So we'll be, Nalini and her team will be getting that confirmed as well as we continue to report this unfolding story. Nalini and Sakshi, very much. Thanks very much for being with me with that input. Now, obviously, as you know, Gautam Adani, the Adani Group, is scarcely new to the headlines. It's been a permanent fixture in the political battlefield as well, thanks in no small part to Rahul Gandhi and the Congress party. Now, a political slugfest has erupted after the US has charged Gautam Adani with alleged bribery and fraud. The BJP and Congress have locked horns, attacking each other. Remember, Parliament's winter session kicks off on Monday. Congress MP Rahul Gandhi held a big press conference today. Take a look at what happened.
The indictment of billionaire Gautam Adani in a New York court over his role in an alleged multi-million-dollar bribery and fraud scheme has sparked a firestorm in India. The Adani Group released a statement denying the charges, but it had no effect on the political slugfest that had already begun. Congress MP and leader of opposition Rahul Gandhi lashed out at the government, accusing Prime Minister Narendra Modi of protecting Adani.
अदानी जी को एकदम अरेस्ट किया जाए, और हम जानते हैं और हम देश को दिखाना चाहते हैं कि अदानी जी की अरेस्ट नहीं होगी, और इसलिए नहीं होगी क्योंकि हिंदुस्तान के प्रधानमंत्री अदानी जी के पीछे खड़े हुए हैं और उनके प्रोटेक्टर हैं.
The Congress leader claimed a fair investigation will expose Prime Minister Modi.
अदानी जी को अरेस्ट कीजिए, उनका इंटेरोगेशन कीजिए, और फिर जो भी इसमें इन्वॉल्व है पकड़िए, और एंड में मैं आपको बता रहा हूं नरेंद्र मोदी जी का नाम निकलेगा, क्योंकि बीजेपी की पूरी फंडिंग, पूरा फंडिंग स्ट्रक्चर इस व्यक्ति के हाथ में है. इसीलिए प्रधानमंत्री चाहे भी कुछ नहीं कर सकते.
The BJP hit back at the Congress. It claimed that the alleged bribes occurred between July 2021 and February 2022 in opposition-ruled states.
4 राज्य में SDC, स्टेट डिस्ट्रीब्यूशन कंपनी, इलेक्ट्रिसिटी डिस्ट्रीब्यूशन कंपनी, वो स्टेट की ही प्रॉपर्टी होती है, स्टेट गवर्नमेंट की. छत्तीसगढ़ की सरकार, कांग्रेस पार्टी की भूपेश बघेल जी की सरकार छत्तीसगढ़ में उस समय मौजूद थी. उस समय आंध्र प्रदेश में, जहां सबसे ज्यादा लेन देन के विषय में चर्चा हुई, क्या भारतीय जनता पार्टी की सरकार थी? नहीं. क्या हमारी समर्थित सरकार थी? नहीं. किसकी सरकार थी? YSRCP की सरकार थी। उस समय तमिलनाडु में, क्योंकि तमिलनाडु का नाम भी इसमें आता है, उनके स्टेट डिस्ट्रीब्यूशन कंपनी का नाम आता है। किसकी सरकार थी? DMK, आपके सहयोगी स्टालिन जी की सरकार थी। उस समय उड़ीसा में किसकी सरकार थी? BJD की सरकार थी।
Countering Rahul's attack on Prime Minister Modi, the BJP said the Gandhis have failed to dent Modi's credibility.
राहुल जी कह रहे थे इंडिया हाईजैक हो गया है। गलत, टेंस गलत है। पास्ट टेंस में होना चाहिए था, फ्यूचर टेंस और प्रेजेंट टेंस में नहीं। इंडिया हाईजैक हो गया था। गांधी परिवार, ये नकली गांधी परिवार उसके हाईजैकर थे। कमांडो ने मुक्त कराया है हाईजैकिंग से।
Ever since the Hindenburg, a US-based short seller leveled allegations of irregularities by the Adani Group, the Congress leadership has been gunning for the conglomerate over his links with the BJP government. Bureau Report, India Today.
Very quickly, want to simplify the many stages of the investigation and where things are currently at, because this is the United States system, significantly different from the Indian system, so where things are at. Number one, the first stage investigation initiated, obviously that's already been done. The trigger was allegations of bribery and fraudulent practices. The agency involved in this first stage, the FBI, the US Attorney Office and the Department of Justice's Criminal Division. Then you come to the second stage, which is evidence gathering. This has also been completed. The method is collection of financial records, communication transcripts and testimonies. The focus in this second stage is identifying improper campaign contributions and potential bribes to government officials in the United States. Number three, the key findings. This is also something that's already been done. A bribery scheme, executives provided millions in campaign contributions in exchange for regulatory favors is what this says. Concealment tactics, use of anonymous corporate entities to funnel contributions. Then you've got the stage 4, which is the important stage, which is charges filed. This is also now done. Defendants include company executives, including chairman and others. The main charges are conspiracy, wire fraud, bribery, and violations of federal laws. Now we come to stage number 5, which was done today, which is indictments. That's the latest stage that has been completed. Multiple individuals charged, public announcements by federal officials. Finally, number 6, legal proceedings. As you just heard India Today's Nalini Sharma tell us, that's the next stage. We are at the stage just before legal proceedings. Pre-trial, plea bargains considered for cooperating witnesses. The actual trial is where evidence will be presented before a federal jury in the United States. And finally, stage number 7 is the verdict. That happens after the trial. Possible outcomes, conviction or acquittal. Penalties include potential prison sentences and financial penalties. Now let's ask the big questions about where things actually are. These are big questions because much about this story and where it is going is not clear just yet. Why did the Adani Group not disclose to the Securities and Exchange Commission its probe to the SEBI, the SEC probe to the Securities and Exchange Board of India, which is here in India? Number 2, will the Modi government take action through the Ministry of New and Renewable Energy against the Adani Group? Will state governments order individual investigations into these allegations of bribes for solar power contracts, notably Andhra Pradesh? How will the US indictment impact the Adani Group's funding and expansion plans? How will that actually be indicted? These are questions, answers of which are not immediately clear, but hopefully as our coverage continues, we will bring you greater clarity on that.